Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome. I really didn't think this day would come. Happy Monday, the day before Election Day. Dr. Jason Dean, Brave TV, your source for health, freedom, and knowledge. I really didn't think we would get to this spot. Did you?
That an election would happen?
I mean, it didn't happen yet, but did you really?
Well, I'm sitting here that everybody's like, I don't like the rhetoric that's being passed around of like, oh, 3 more days and we get our country back. No, we still have a lot of time before technically he's.
But you need to step outside of your reality and come back to normie reality. Remember, they think that like back to normal before COVID was good. So now like a victory is, oh, we have our country back. They don't. I don't think the country will ever be. This is gonna sound terrible. I don't think the country will ever be what you want it to be.
No, I don't think it will either. But
you want everyone to take like personal responsibility and.
Well, that ain't fucking gonna happen.
That's what I'm saying.
No, but as far as like the Trump thing, so to give an example of the latency that we have in between, on Tim Dillon, the podcast with JD Vance.
I never watched that one.
What?
I didn't see that one.
I listened to it while I was in the shower and doing dishes and stuff. It was just, I needed something else to throw on. I had already watched All In and whatever. So I was like, all right, let me watch this one. So JD Vance brought up a spectacular point. They were talking about foreign affairs as far as like Taiwan and other people, other countries that want to move in on America. And while I'm not one of those people that like, I don't fear China to the extent, I don't fear Russia to the extent, I don't think these are the big bad wolves that everybody tells us that they are. But in the case of Taiwan and China, he said that what a better time for another country to move in on Taiwan when Kamala's licking her wounds from losing an election. She's still technically in office, and you don't have Biden doing anything. So like that 3-month window to me is more important than the outcome of tomorrow, because one, I don't even think we're going to get a concise answer tomorrow. We've already been warned, places will take 12 days to count the election or whatever. And then on top of that, do you remember they were all talking about that cybersecurity test?
Yeah.
Well, that was supposed to happen election day. So then people are like, oh, no, we can't do it on election day. So they postponed it till the next day. But if we're still counting ballots that are supposedly in these computers for 12 days after the election, don't you think that still is going to disrupt tallies?
Okay. I'm going to be different than you. Ready? We were just chatting about this before we came on in the mod group. I'm going to view this from strictly a doctor lens. And I don't mean like more intelligent, just mean it's just different, right? So when I say that, and you have this lens too, it's not doctor training, that's all. Pure observation. Like, so when I walk out to get somebody, the first things I do is like, how do they look? How do they talk? What's their physical appearance like? How do they move? Like, and that happens in seconds, seconds, right? It's kind of like when you see an old person and they have like the liver spots or blood spots all over their arm. Like, I can pretty much tell you the person's not healthy. Like, this isn't rocket science, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to view this from a lens of practitioner, and that is this. One, we know everything's not on the up and up because we just know Trump has been somehow involved the last 4 years, far deeper than most everyone understands, right? Two, he's been using language, golden age. I remember Robert Kiyosaki was talking about the market crash years ago, and he's like, it's going to crash in January. Why he said January, and we know January coming is probably going to be either November to January is this thing. But here's what I look at. Donald Trump has had rallies for like the last years, right?
Yeah.
And unless his rally is in an arena where it's 10 to 15,000 people, other than Madison Square Garden, which is much bigger, like his average arena rally, let's say it's 10 to 15,000, right? Other ones outside are insane, from 20,000 plus people showing up to like the middle of freaking nowhere. Let's be honest. Like,
I don't disagree.
Right. No, but hold on. So,
okay.
Perception wise, people show up. Other than when Kamala Harris blatantly blatantly gave away tickets to a rally that were essentially, it was marketed as a Beyonce concert, right?
Yeah.
Besides that one and the J-Lo bullshit, she can't get anybody to show up for anything. On top of that, the country is red. And when you look at the country like in an electoral map, the only blue are obviously little spots in cities. Donald Trump has essentially, I don't want to say flipped, but he has changed the narrative in the inner cities. He's changed the narrative in the Bronx. He's changed the narrative in New York City. He's changed South Florida. I don't know if anybody knows this. Yeah. I mean, my wife's from South Florida. My wife is born and raised in Miami. That is a blue world, right? It completely flipped last election to the point where this election, it's like a different country down there. Like it's America again. There is no way humanly possible outside of just blatant cheating or God knows what else, false flags. Donald Trump wins 40 to 45 states, 45 to 50 states tomorrow. There is no way outside of that. That like just strictly perception of the obvious. Does that make sense?
Yes, but we thought the same thing in 2020.
No.
Yes.
You can't use 2020 numbers. Yeah, Joe Biden is trying to. Joe Biden saying he got 81 million votes more than the first black president. Come on.
I'm not going to talk voter turnout and stuff, but as far as perception wise, we thought the same thing when it came to 2020. We had Biden doing these Jeep rallies that were clearly staged and maybe fucking 10 people there, and they blamed COVID because they had to be spaced and stuff, and we're like, there's no way he got that many votes. And while I agree there is no way that he got that many votes, but that doesn't change the fact that for 4 years he's been supposedly the sitting president, and we had the rug pulled out from underneath us. So I don't like to look at the perception of, oh, nobody's going to Kamala's rallies. That doesn't really mean anything when they have keys to the kingdom.
No, I'm not saying they're going to let him take office. I'm just saying if this is I'm talking about an up and up, like a straight up election. I'm telling you that yes, could Trump lose tomorrow? Yeah, he could lose easily, but it's not because he lost. Like, let's be honest here. If this was just straight up numbers and a legitimate actual election, this thing's already over. I mean, look at the numbers coming out from early voting. Like, this is already over.
See,
the only way Trump actually legitimately loses this tomorrow is if they just outright steal the entire, like Florida should be called by like 7:30.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I'm just trying to stay in the reality and not get my hopes up of the fact
I'm just telling you what it should be.
Especially like the people that are like, oh, it's a landslide, like early voting numbers. Well, one, I'm of the mindset right now where I'm like, okay, are these regular voters? How many like newly registered voters? So we have like the Amish in Pennsylvania. I've heard it's upwards of even 180,000 possibly that are adding to Pennsylvania. Amish don't normally vote. They're voting in droves. They have billboards up literally saying in the Dutch Pennsylvania thing saying to vote for Trump. Okay, those to me are newly registered voters that wouldn't have normally voted even on day of voting. Whereas us, we normally vote day of and we just voted early. So now we don't have the number coming in on the day of.
I
So
think you're overthinking it.
no, I'm just saying, are the early votes being
No.
replacing the day of votes?
Nope.
Or do we think that there's actually that many new voters?
Yep. I think there's that many new, and I think so. I'm actually likening this movement right now, and I could be wrong. I'm likening what you're seeing right now to, I'll say this as a Yankee fan or as a New York sports fan. Our mentality is, and I played like this. You probably played like this too. Let's say you're up in a football game or a baseball game. You're up by 5-10 runs, or you're up by like 20-30 points plus whatever, right? Like literally, you keep going. Like you put your foot on their neck and you finish them off, and you just keep scoring. Like there's no holding back, right? I actually believe conservatives at this point, the MAGA movement, I believe has this. I don't want to say that because that'll get us really removed, but I was going to say some like really, really like over the top stuff. But this is the take their head off moment. Like, show up, vote, and make this so out of control in a voting standpoint that they have no way that they can possibly, like, it's literally destroy them. That's what I think the mindset is as a red voter right now. The absolute destruction of the blue brand.
I understand the too big to rig, swamp the vote.
I don't think it's too big to rig. I think that's the mentality, though, of the red, is to literally annihilate.
Yeah, right. I totally get that. However, a number is a number. They can change it to any which number that they possibly need, which is why I'm just sitting here being pretty conservative with my thoughts of the fact, like, hey, I understand like early voting's up. I'm waiting to see what cards they pull out, because they've already said, Raskin said on live that they're not going to let Trump. We still have Trump's arraignment happening right after the election. We have all of these different factors that, okay, even if he gets a victory tomorrow, even if they declare it on every major news station that Trump got 45 states, whatever, however many he gets, even if they declare that tomorrow, there's so much that can stop it from actually taking effect for our nation that I'm like, and not to mention, yeah, we're talking early voting numbers. What about the early voting lawsuits? There's dozens of them out there. AG for Missouri is going after Kamala Harris's DOJ and stuff because they sent illegal electors. We have a lawsuit in Michigan from the GOP versus Benson, the Secretary of State, because of the supposed glitches that were happening. According to Benson, they were happening nationwide. We have Colorado, who put out 2 pages of the passwords for the computers, and we don't know where those are even going to fall. Like, who knows? A court could take actively and be like, we just can't count this election, and throw the whole fucking thing away.
I just think this is, I think you have a movement here that is untouchable. I mean, this is like, what's the word? I don't know the word to call it. I almost said destiny, but that's totally the wrong word. It's a I actually think, based on what I'm feeling and seeing, he could go 100 to 120 million votes. Unheard. At the end of the day, and this goes to what you've tried to pound in my head the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Remember, he was flipping inner cities. He flipped the Bronx. Like, he's flipping potentially Chicago, right? He didn't flip them because of the red blue. Because he's not I had to tell my in-laws last time, I'm like, Donald Trump is not a Republican. I don't know why everyone needed to, he's not a Republican. He is a Democrat. He's a Kennedy Democrat, but he's a moderate in the middle. And really that's where America is, and that's why he's so loved is because conservatives are whack jobs, like Republicans are whack. Like when I say Republicans,
Yeah,
I
the
mean like
warmonger whack jobs.
the
I
warmonger
understand
whack
what you're
jobs.
saying.
Republicans are insane. And when I say Republicans, I mean like the McCains of the world, the Romneys of the
Yeah,
world,
the
like they're
Cheneys,
lunatics,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
I don't want to even come the Bushes. Like those are war hawk neocon Republicans. And then the left is just complete psychopathic, like pedophilia, whatever you want to call it. They're just I don't know what word to use for him. He is middle ground because at the end of the day, Americans are middle ground, whether they know it or they not. And that's why he appeals.
Yeah.
And he made it known and showed everybody, hey, Nicolette, I talked to a couple wealthy people that are patients of mine, like very wealthy, like stupid wealthy. And you know what we had the same, we talked about something and we had the same problem. First of all, I don't like crappy butter. I want good, Vital Farms, organic. Sure, some of it's pasteurized, right? But it's organic butter. I'm pretty tired of spending $8 to $10 on 4 sticks of butter.
I hear you.
And guess what?
Hear you.
The city people are probably a little tired of, I don't even know what it costs. What is a pack of cigarettes today?
You know what? I placed a delivery order this morning on one of my grocery store apps because I needed a few things. And I just happen, like, I always look at like the weekly ad. Okay, any produce that are on sale or anything like that. And keep in mind, this isn't us. Be very clear. This is not us. But I always, just to get a spectrum of like where prices are at, I always like to look at what the average junk eating American is eating. A box of Cheez-Its, relatively around $7, if not on sale. They were on sale for $5 and something cents.
That's
However,
outrageous.
It's less than like 12 ounces in the bag inside the box. And then boxes of cereal. Yes, they were buy two get three free, but why am I paying $8 for that initial box of cereal?
Because it's insane.
Yeah, it's insane. Tim and I quit smoking a while back, and we got to the point where we were paying, I think, about $10 or $11 a pack of cigarettes. And my friend was like, I paid 20 something in New York.
I'm looking up right now what.
But these are the things. Do you remember the cheese slices? I saw this and I couldn't believe it because
a pack of Marlboro costs $20. Or no, I'm sorry, $10. I don't.
Yeah, probably that sounds about right.
That's insane.
Yeah, but okay, you remember the cheese slices, like the plastic American cheese slices
that
you probably had as a kid. Like I know at my grandma's house, we used to spend all of summer over there because she had a giant, like 13-foot round above ground pool. And we would have grilled cheese every single day. We'd get out the country crock butter, the white Wonder Bread or whatever off-brand bread that she had, and the Velveeta or Kraft slices of cheese, and make grilled cheeses every single day because it was quick, it was easy, whatever. She could make some for me and my cousins regularly with just those 3 ingredients. Like 16 pack of those cheese slices is like $5. It's not even real cheese.
It's not even real cheese.
It's like $5 for
it's a chemical.
16 slices. But I remember the reason
$12 for a pack of cigarettes in New York State.
And that's probably shit cigarettes. And well, not that they're not all shit, but you get what I'm saying. But like those slices of cheese, I remember people saying like, "Oh, the welfare block of cheese."
Yeah.
For the fake cheese. And now even that is around $6 for 16 slices. If you put 2 each on a grilled cheese, like most people do, that's only 8 grilled cheeses. Let's be honest. That's not stretching very far for your average consumer. So I do think that there is this huge energy. People are seeing that. People are caring about the prices. You know, you have anywhere from Taylor Swift, Billie Eilish, Sabrina Carpenter, all those young, whatever you want to call them, stars, and then you have like the older celebrities endorsing her. And one of the most common things that I see on Facebook is people saying these people have no clue. Their opinion is not paying my bills.
Gary
Flat
the
out,
num-
they don't know what it's like right now.
Gary the numbers guy says 12 minutes ago, if you are against Trump now, get ready for 4 years of hell. Payback is coming in the year of the snake. I think he's going to destroy her. I just do. I think. I'm not saying it's not a movie. I'm not saying that like he's good or bad, because obviously we've had these discussions over and over and over again, right? I just think there's going to be some sort of payoff. I think we end up I think we go into tribunals for some reason, like somewhere along the next 3 to 6 months.
I think it will get to the point where, at the very least, we have accountability. And when I say that, it's not my type of accountability where I want everybody to be open and honest and just, I would rather she go up there and be like, I fucked up, but these are the things that I'd change. Instead, she backs all of her decisions with Biden. Like that one ad, she was asked on some major news network, is there any one thing that you would change differently about what the Biden administration did? And she goes, there's nothing that comes to mind. And I was involved in every decision. I understand the optics of it, but I would have at least been like, I would have changed the order in which we left Afghanistan. Like, simple. People wouldn't be mad at her for it. Honestly, they'd like her more if she could admit something like that.
Not gonna happen.
How did you
how high did your rage go when you found out that they may or may not have killed the squirrel and the raccoon?
You know what? The one video that got to me was the TMZ video. That was the only video that got to me. I've seen this guy.
Oh, because because the wife was crying like on the side, and she was broken up about it. And
well, for me, I don't know. I'm a big animal lover or whatever. But when he was talking about, so let me be clear on what happened.
Is it a psychological operation? Continue on.
Whatever. 4 different departments and a judge signed off on the warrant to seize the animals. They took them in the name of medical, as they do for everything else that they lie about for the most part. And so they said that they were getting them tested for rabies, and they put them down, even though these have always been pets. And so they seized the animals and euthanized them within 48 hours. But on top of that, when the guy was speaking, he said, they sat me outside my house for over 5 hours as they ransacked my entire house, searching for whatever they were fucking looking for, and interrogated my wife, asking her about her illegal status, all this other stuff, girlfriend, whoever this is. And they said they interrogated my wife, and I was like, I said to my mom, I said, isn't that so fucking rich? They cared about her illegal immigration status as they let millions across the fucking border.
That's where you gotta wonder. That's where you gotta wonder if it's just like a psyop, because they and everyone knows. Like, obviously, we care about our children, we care about the country, but I think the majority of Americans have a very big soft spot for animals/pets, right?
Yeah,
and I'm like,
it's become a collective thing on the internet.
But this was dropped 2 days before. You can't get people to be that's what gets everybody. Like, it's the innocence of an animal. And then they obviously use somebody who like why would they go after the internet popular dude?
It's fantastic if you ask me.
That's why it looks like a great psyop.
So the story is that they somebody complains to whatever department it is, Department of Health, Department of Wildlife or something, that wildlife was being kept in this guy's home, which is a licensed animal sanctuary, by the way. He made a sanctuary. It has over 300 animals that they have rescued since getting Peanut, the squirrel, 7 years ago. It's in upstate New York. And so I'm guessing somebody on the internet possibly found out whatever way he's voting or whatever he possibly said, made a complaint into their local thing. You know how you get those letters of people making complaints to your local health department. So all this to be said, I'm here for it. I'm here for even if it's one big hoax and it didn't happen. You have TMZ and William Shatner, for fucking God's sakes. William Shatner put out something that said shame on New York Department of Health or whatever because he
Okay,
just
here's my
found
question
out
for you
about
then.
it.
Let me I don't want to crush your story. But here's my question for you. Can you tell me why nobody got any video of the dumbass in the Department of whatever in New York State? Why no one like walked with him down the road towards his car, or like why is there no like is that guy really exist? Like if everyone's so upset about this, you're telling me nobody in New York who was really pissed off was waiting outside the dude's house. He has to go get some cream or milk or some eggs, or he has to go to work one day, or he has to go to church or whatever the hell he does. Like he probably doesn't go to church because he looks like a degenerate anyway. But you're telling me nobody got video? Like he went to work today, I would imagine. Like no one's going and asking him questions as he walks down the sidewalk to his car or to work.
I ask myself these questions all the time.
That makes me believe it's probably just a really great
Why does
story.
nobody see Fauci out and about? Why does nobody like? We live in the day and age where everybody has a camcorder at any freaking time, but we don't see these things.
Correct. It just doesn't. It's not logical to me. It doesn't make it's a great story. Great. I mean, trust me. I talked to. I was talking to people. And asking questions about it. I just asked, hey, what do you think about the peanut thing? Oh my God, this is so horrible. They're such assholes. Even liberals were like, that's horrible.
The memes are writing themselves. And plus, part of me, so I'll play the psyop theory. And part of me thinks that it's a correction because Trump failed on delivering the message about the Haitians eating the dogs.
The animals.
Because you could ask all the Haitians in Springfield, Ohio. Yes, some of them are eating cats. That's a regular thing. However, they won't touch dogs. They thought that was obscene that Trump would say something like that. Yeah. So, and it made him look kind of ridiculous to say the dogs when there hasn't been any claims of dogs. So overcorrection. Here's a squirrel and a raccoon, our beloved pets that we have fostered, and they killed. Somebody said something about OnlyFans. Like, does the couple work for OnlyFans, or does like the Department of Health person work for OnlyFans?
I think the dude did, the guy that owned it. But you have to remember, OnlyFans is not just for like soft porn anymore. Like, there's some people that actually have it and they use it for other things.
Can I be?
Because I actually one time thought about potentially. I'm like, well, I wonder if I should open an account and just like be like, haha, I'm here for healthcare, not like
Well, can I be the odd man out here and think that while I'm not agreeing to objectifying your body and stuff, it's capitalism, baby. You go where the money is. And there's some people on OnlyFans, they will take a pen with their toes and write a guy's name on a piece of paper and get paid hundreds of dollars for it. If that person is dumb enough to pay that person $100 for it, whatever.
One of the wrestlers she was fired from WWE a couple of years ago. I don't remember why. Very attractive. She went to OnlyFans and she was making like $1 million a month, something like some insane number. And people are like, "Oh, no reason to go back to wrestling. Like, you're killing it." And I don't think she was not doing. I didn't see because I'm not on OnlyFans, but I don't think she was putting up pornographic stuff. I think it was just swimsuit stuff. Like, it's obviously edgy, right? But at the same time, what's the difference between that and I'm scrolling Melania, right? I'm scrolling through X and some random conservative influencer is making cookies in a bowl and her boobs are shaking back and forth with cleavage. Like, what's the difference?
Anna Paulina Luna
shaking her ass. Lauren Boebert shaking her ass. Like, what is the difference?
Lauren Boebert in the theater. Come on. I'm not for it,
No,
but
but what is the difference,
listen,
right? At the end of the day, why are OnlyFans and strippers like outcast, but
right.
I think the conservative calendar this past year, the one where the girls dressed up like for the beer thing or whatever dressed up, I think that I know this is gonna sound terrible. I thought that was highly inappropriate.
Yeah, I like it, absolutely. But I'm also gonna sit here and say, unclutch your pearls a bit, conservatives, because you can't be hypocrites and accept Melania Trump and say she is the classiest first lady we've ever had. Yes, I understand the opposition is a dude, but you can't take somebody who has posed naked behind a camera, whether it isn't fully naked, but scandalous nonetheless, and love that and call her classy and then jump down the throat of other people.
She is
Like,
the classiest first lady to ever grace the stage, Nicolette.
maybe she's the only real lady.
Probably.
Like, let's just be honest. I'm just saying. Like, we live in a sexualized society. While I understand the cons of saying that, um, you're not going to get people to stop having sex. You're not going to get men to stop gawking. You're not going to get women to stop. Like, people love to see RFK Jr. with his shirt off. I'm sure they would love to see Vance, too. I'm just throwing it out there. RFK Jr. is a bit old for me, but I see the comments.
A bit old.
What? Yeah. He's like, what? At least 70, maybe?
RFK Jr.? Yeah, I think I don't remember, but I think so. I mean, okay, so can I tell you what put me over the top?
With what? With the
This
squirrel?
whole thing. No, this squirrel thing, whatever. People kill squirrels all the time. Like it's
Yeah,
like,
Tim
go in nature.
used to have
like,
a collection of squirrel tails now. Like,
Right,
that's
like-
pretty gross to just keep in a bag in your drawer.
No.
So we're not doing that.
I mean, obviously I was like bummed out. I'm like, this is bullshit. Like, it's a pet squirrel, a pet raccoon. Like, this is dumb, right? Like, this is
It's
absolutely
just
insane.
public perception.
It's public perception.
It was yeah.
Okay, this is the most important thing that's happened in the last 48 to 72 hours for me. And I'm not joking with this. I was already like 99% in on this whole thing. I'm like, okay, I don't give a shit if Trump is Satan himself. I don't care if he's the Antichrist. I don't care if this is one big bullshit. He's the snake. He's the Trojan horse. This is the uniparty. Trump is just like bringing in and ushering in the system, and we're all going to find out about it. And he's with Israel, and I don't care any of that stuff. I went 110% in. Around
Ron
40.
Paul.
Ron fucking Paul is over for me. Like, I'm telling you right now, when Elon Musk posts Ron Paul, and then Ron Paul's like, let's get started, like, Ron Paul is my political, like, as much as I like Trump, I am at heart, like, the person who flipped me on politics in America. I remember the day it happened. I remember watching Ron Paul on stage. He talked about blowback in 9/11. I remember asshole, and I still think he is today, Rudy Giuliani, I think he's a scumbag. He said, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should apologize to the American people for saying that we had anything to do with this, blah, 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 blah. And Ron Paul would not back down. He kept going forward. I thought that night Ron Paul was a raging lunatic. I'm like, this, because I was a war hawk at the time.
Yeah.
Like, Ron Paul is a psychopath. He thinks we did 9/11. Then I started researching. 9/11 was my red pill. And when I found out that Ron Paul was right, like, at the end of the day, I like Donald Trump. Donald Trump to me is not Ron Paul to me. Ron Paul to me, like, my favorite founding father is Thomas Jefferson. Ron Paul and Thomas Jefferson, like, Thomas Jefferson has a slight edge because he was a founding father. But at the end of the day, when Ron Paul is all in, like, here's the chips.
So I love this. This was a great move because let's be honest. I love the libertarian aspect. They kind of veer off their own perspective a lot of the times. But for the first time in a long time, you had a libertarian convention, and people were pissed about how that went down. You had Vivek come and speak. This is before Vivek dropped out. You had Vivek come and speak. You had Donald Trump come and speak. You had RFK Jr. come and speak, as well as Dave Smith and many others on stage. Well, after the convention, which they all spoke great. Some people didn't like Trump. Some people booed him. Other people laughed. Like it was back and forth. But regardless, at the end of the convention, libertarians supposedly nominated for their primary this person named Chase Oliver,
Yep.
who is far progressive liberalism. Like to the point where
he's got a lot. He's got problems.
Yeah, like he's the one of the people wearing the weird kink dog outfits out there.
I think he's gay too. Not that it matters, but I think he's gay.
And he was for masking and all the
masking, LGBTQ. Like he's the antithesis of libertarianism.
Even most libertarians agree you have to have a border. Like for the country, like a country with no borders ceases to be a country. But then there's the far weird progressive liberals that are libertarians that are like, I don't care what you do. I don't think the government should regulate it. Open the borders. Who cares? Which that's not the right take. So with them nominating Ron Paul, because let me be clear, we have Vivek. Vivek is structured. This collegiate, like, I don't know how to word it, but
I appreciate Vivek, but I don't trust him at all.
He still, in a way, represents the elites.
Sure.
Vance, okay, he came from Appalachia, but you also went to Yale Law School. You still represent the elites to an extent.
He also is a investment private equity guy. He played with the boys at the top.
Right. Elon Musk, we have on our side. Elon Musk, okay, we're kind of iffy about you because you're supposedly the richest person. You wear some questionable clothes that signify the devil. So you're still a giant corporation, so libertarians don't tend to like you.
And you've made no money on your actual own. It's all based off government handouts for you.
And then RFK Jr., you went to the Libertarian Independent Party as a last resort because Democrats wouldn't let you on your ballot. So that's not a good look for you with libertarians. So this Ron Paul thing just got the bench warmers off the bench. That was the beauty of it. It brought in all the bench warmers.
And I don't even care if Ron Paul is part of the New World Order. I don't care if Ron Paul is part of the Antichrist system. I know this sounds really weird. I don't care if Ron Paul is helping usher in freaking Lucifer. I am Ron Paul till the end.
Let me ask you something. Ron Paul, what do you think about the relationship with Ron Paul and Rand Paul? Because Rand Paul seems to have become an establishment rhino to me.
They've talked about that before. They've both been on camera before, and they're just like, hey, we're different people. Like he has, like even Ron has said, and Rand has admitted to this. Ron has said he's built on the base fundamentals that I talk about as well. But at the same time, it's just like any kid. Like my daughter is around us 24/7, but she still has some different viewpoints and opinions that I do, even at 11 years old. Like Rand is different. He's not.
Well, that's what I was kind of wondering, because when Trump came up with the idea of tariffs, not taxes, talking about all federal income tax being gone, Rand seemed to talk against it and said, there's no way. So I'm just wondering if because of his immediate climate of what he's always in has kind of put him in a box to where he doesn't think as much like that with his dad. Like he doesn't see a path forward for that. He's kind of shooting down those ideas.
You mean is Ron Paul shooting down tariffs? I didn't see.
No, Rand Paul.
Oh, Rand is. Yeah, I mean, I think Rand has a little bit of kind of a little bit of rhino in him in a way.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like because of his social economic climate that he's in and being on Capitol Hill and stuff in the Senate, he kind of has lost his roots in those aspects where he doesn't see the
but I also think I also think, based on reading and watching Ron Paul over the years, and if you go watch his recorded videos in Congress, I think Ron was the original rebel, and I think Rand also is Senate, by the way, 2 different places, right?
Yeah.
I think Rand also, being the younger guy, I think Rand realized, oh, this is how the game is played. I might have to work around some things to play this game. Like, I think he sees like, hey, Dad was amazing, but also Dad didn't get some things done, not because Dad wasn't, Dad didn't want to play the game.
But I'm also a little bit on the opposite side. I'm a little bit more towards Ron with that, and that was my point with Rand, is because of him being in the Senate and kind of following everything to a T, like, oh, things have to go, this is the protocol for how we deal with this. This is the protocol for how we deal with Fauci and like the Wuhan lab and all this other stuff. Things still aren't getting done. No matter, like, he's playing nice and crossing his T's and dotting his I's in all the right places, and things don't seem to be getting done. Whereas Ron, and this is my perspective of, sometimes you don't play by the rules to get things done. And when I say that, it's not don't follow the protocol, you find loopholes.
Okay, but here's another thing. In defense of Rand, Ron Paul didn't get a lot of stuff done. Because he didn't play the game. So when people, like, one of the arguments against Ron Paul is, okay, great, Ron, good job. You never got anything accomplished in the House of Representatives because you just went against everything. So in reality, Ron Paul
kind of just
Ron Paul is not beloved because of what he got done in Congress. Ron Paul is beloved because of the message he carried for so long, and it was being right, and this is wrong, and this is not how it should be. But from a standpoint of legislation and bills, Ron Paul is a terrible example because he didn't get anything accomplished technically from a standpoint of legal. Like, Ron Paul is the old school guy that your grandparents talked about when you're saying, hey, you're not going to like it now, but save the $20, save the $50, save the $100, put it in the account. You're not going to like it. The rice and beans kind of sucks. It doesn't feel good. You're not going to go on vacation. You're not going to do this. You're just going to put it away. And then, oh my God, 2024, Ron Paul is like 90 years old, literally. And he's like, oh my God, he's being brought in to end the Fed. Like talk about being steadfast and invested in a message, not passing legislation, but a message that is long-lived, that carries on. Like, Ron Paul invested his 60 plus years for the next 100 plus years.
Which, isn't that interesting, the messaging matching up at the right timeline? Well, yes, Ron is in his 90s or whatever. He wrote End the Fed.
Right.
Like, he wrote that book.
Literally says End the Fed.
We're sitting here talking every day about Trump. Okay, it started with no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, no taxes, at all. No income tax, federal income taxes at all. And we're all sitting here like, he has to be ending the Fed. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, hey, Ron, hey, we're going to use your idea. Come on in, Oh
my God. And then that brings Massey in, which changes the game.
Which Massey endorsed him recently.
Yeah, Massey endorsed Trump.
But he endorsed him.
It's crazy. That's why tomorrow, Nicolette, just for the record, and I have to run at the top of the hour to something else. I don't want to call it hope. For the record, everybody, and I think Nicolette's probably the same here, even though Nicolette's a little bit more in the nuts and bolts of the legal part because she really enjoys that, and I'm not in that part necessarily. Tomorrow we will be live streaming tomorrow night. We'll do the show tomorrow, but also live streaming tomorrow night. And quite honestly, don't look for me to get upset tomorrow or something. I don't care what happens tomorrow. I don't care if we win 50 states. I don't care if the numbers aren't coming in and, oh my God, something's wrong. I don't care if they announce Kamala Harris the next president of the United States tomorrow night. I don't care if it takes 3-4 days. I don't care if Donald Trump isn't announced president until middle of next year. I don't care, because at the end of the day, the energy of this, I know We've
Yeah.
won. I know this game is over. I know exactly what they're doing. I know exactly what Trump is taking us into. And by the way, by next year, America will be put back on the rails. There will be a little bit of pain, so don't think it's all going to be just hunky dory, rainbows and butterflies, right? But I look at tomorrow almost as I'm going to watch it because I want to see from a statistically standpoint where this thing kind of shakes out. I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
But tomorrow is purely the entertainment of like, how is this country thinking right now? What, like, how did they do this? Are they really going to try to fucking go for this deal again?
Well, I guess this is my problem is that if I actually believed in the results being presented to us and thought that they were actual results, I'd have a little bit more of a insight on what the country's thinking, but I can't really judge those numbers. And also, I know that not just 2020 was stolen. I know that we've never had a free and fair election according to rules, so I don't have anything to base off of like what it should look like, you know?
I mean, she
But
shouldn't even be running for president. Let's be honest. Like, she's not even like, she can't run for Obama shouldn't have been president of the United States.
Yeah.
Like, where do you want to take this? You know what I mean?
But what do I always say about public perception? Public perception is the thing that matters. And with this, all of this has gotten the snowball rolling. It's crashing down this giant mountain right now because you have RFK publicly talking about fluoride in the water, Nicole Shannon publicly talking about how MMR has had terrible side effects for vaccines.
Go watch that video, everybody.
You have the Fed. People know that the Federal Reserve isn't actually like people actually understand how the fuck our money works now.
Right.
And they're tired of it. Now that they know that they're just printing money for Ukraine and our taxes don't really mean shit because they could just print money and all this other stuff. Because of that, and then seeing the offset of that with their gas prices being up and their groceries being up, people are paying attention more. And yes, even the outliers, they might say that they're for Kamala, but they don't understand the root cause. So just like when we talk about health, they don't understand the root cause of it, but they do know that their groceries are more expensive. Like everybody knows that. They just make up excuses like, oh, it's corporations being greedy and stuff.
Right.
So they do see the problem though. So I am a bit excited because the snowball is rolling. I love the fact that this stuff is being talked about in an open platform. The fact that we got people to question vaccines, that's a huge win for me. I don't care what ends up happening. At the end of the day, we control our controllables. We've survived these last 3 years and 10 months. So this doomsday of like, vote for whatever or it's the end of the world. I feel like they say that every election, While I'm not saying communism can't happen, I have enough faith in us that we will still keep up the fight no matter what happens. So it kind of doesn't matter which way it goes to me either. Like, do I want him to win? Of course. But I'll tell you, I got so many messages today from like acquaintances, people I haven't talked to in years.
That's crazy.
Messaging me randomly and asking me like, hey, I really want Trump to win. I'm about to I want to go vote. I don't know about my like local people. Okay, fucking Google it for one, but two, like, where have you been? And I said that to a few of them. I'm like, you've just been quietly sitting in my foxhole while I'm screaming on the front lines. Why haven't you been paying attention for the last 4 years?
The
whole FCC thing with SNL and Trump during the sporting events and NASCAR or whatever, I think is so fucking stupid. I don't like those type of rules and regulations of, oh, well, they can't give her this TV time that's not paid and endorsed by her this close to the election, so now we have to give it to him. Now they're saying he went 30 seconds more than her, so it's like this unbalanced scale. Fucking stupid. If a TV show wants to pay to have Donald Trump on, even this close to the election, let them.
I have a giant issue with Scott Pressler. That's a whole
It's
other
a weird
question.
one.
It's a whole what?
It's a weird one.
It is a weird one. It's voting tomorrow and turning out for me has nothing to do with the 2020 election, for the record. Meaning,
Yeah. No, I agree.
I am not showing up because I'm in agreement with, okay, 2020 is done and over. We can't do it. No. I want this whole thing exposed. The reason I bring it up is because Pressler's now complaining about voting problems. But he was the one that said, we can't worry about that anymore. We have to go and we have to just turn out.
Well, it's current voting problems, and that takes
I
me back
know,
to
but
what
the
I
current
said.
voting problems are the same as the old voting problems, Nicolette.
Right, but that's exactly my point. Is all these lawsuits are coming forward. I do like the fact that we are filing these lawsuits. The GOP, the RNC, uh, um, the state AGs are filing these lawsuits in real time
Right.
instead of after everything is declared. Biden was declared a winner. Let's try to take this to court. Now we're seeing it in real time and almost like catching them red-handed. We had that Chinese nationalist in Detroit already getting charged with illegally voting, but their ballot's still going to count. So,
Right.
to me, that's exactly my point and why I'm not getting my hopes and stuff up. Somebody said Google sucks. I had a hard time finding info on the court choices. You know what? The best, and this sounds terrible, but their campaigns run them. The best thing for you to do, go on the website, or go on the Facebook.
The Facebook.
Sorry. Go on
Go
Facebook
on.
and
You just
find,
sounded like a 80-year-old woman.
I know. Go on Facebook.
The
Find their
Facebook told
pages there.
me.
Find their pages on Facebook. Usually you can find their websites through their Facebook. I belong to the local conservative party, so we put out the awesome mailers. But even on Facebook, they put out exactly who our side is endorsing. All of them.
Yeah, pretty good stuff. Any quick questions? I have to run at the top of the hour. Dr. Dean does not like anyone except for Nicole. It's not the parasites. It's what?
Oh, that person doesn't like me. It's fine.
Aren't they like new to the channel? I didn't see him until like the last couple
No,
weeks.
she rags on me practically every day in the things, but I don't know. But I will say this. Happy 4-year anniversary of when we first met.
I know. I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be 4 years. Tomorrow, for everyone who doesn't know, the first time Nicolette was ever seen on Brave TV, like not even working yet, just like she showed up on election night 2020. And she jumped on. People were calling in. We might do that tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. She was telling us about Michigan and everything. And that was like the start of it. And then like the month afterwards, she relentlessly tried to get a hold of me, and the rest is history.
Yeah. I will say this. Yes, we have veered off from having more guests. And
they'll be back. Don't worry.
Well, some guests. But I will say this. We're trying to vet people more honestly and more in depth because there's a lot of people out there that are just kind of full of shit. And I hate to say it the way that we did, but I am going to say it that way because while I love and pay attention to kind of everybody, I don't follow anybody in particular. Like Bull Pony, for example. I'm sitting here like, hey, is he going to make any comment about how his prediction didn't come at the end of October or beginning of November? He flat out said Halloween is expect something big, and his timeline has been off regularly. And the fact that he doesn't address like, hey, I was wrong, I don't want to have somebody like that on the show. I don't. I think that you're just parroting for views. So, sorry, Bo. We love you as a person. Just tell me why. I don't. Why do you come up with these dates?
I will end with this, right? I don't usually look at the comments anymore till the very end. So I looked at the comments. Just for the record, going forward for the show will be very different. Because I only care about helping people going forward, and we have a lot of people that actually have to help from a healthcare standpoint. I have taken so much shit the last 4+ years behind the scenes, from guests leaving to like turning on us to everything, right? I went through 6+ months of the comments telling me how my ego was inflated and I was actually a jerk and blah, blah, blah. We went through months of people complaining about how they didn't have products show up in their mail, even though they didn't check their mail for a week, which doesn't make sense to me still to this day. We've had people...
Those are my favorite customer service tags.
We've had people trash Nicolette. We've had people trash me. We've had people trash others. And at the end of the day, like, I'm frozen, yes. At the end of the day, it's hilarious. And I don't give any energy to these people anymore. And I don't really give energy to the people in comments anymore either, because the channel will grow. It's going to grow even more when I make the changes we're making. But at the end of the day, like, if you have energy to go after any one of us, that means you're severely lacking a responsibility in your own life. And I just kind of feel bad for you. So usually I used to go after this problem. I no longer care anymore. So basically now, if you show up in the comments and you're being dumb or you're being not nice to people, whatever, we'll give you a day or two, but then it just gets blocked.
Well, I will say this, and this is my last comment on it, because as you guys, I'm technically under Dr. Dean. Dr. Dean owns this thing. He started this thing.
Matt.
I'm very... What? What did you say?
No, Matt, he said Satan is coming because I'm frozen. I got to go in 1 minute.
I know. I will say this. I've even myself said to Dr. Dean, I said, you're too giving. You need to be more selfish, because after... This is 4 years now, giving people a platform, giving people sales when they become affiliates or something, them making thousands of dollars, thousands of dollars, and then turning around and shitting on Dr. Dean regularly, taking him off of stages, not inviting him on their show. When he is on their show, doesn't even give our podcast a shout out. I can't tell you how many places we've been, and people don't even know Brave TV exists, but they watch so-and-so and bought a protocol. So it is time for us to be selfish to an extent, because we're not going to continue boosting up other platforms and we get the shit under the stick. We're not growing because we're not getting with other platforms. They don't ask us regularly to be on there unless something's in it for them. So I'm going to leave it at that.
We will see everybody tomorrow. I have to run. I have to be on time to this thing. And let's have fun tomorrow. Love, serve, and help.
Yeah.
For Nicolette, I'm Dr. Jason Dean. Brave TV. Have a fun Monday, everybody. Enjoy the news cycle.
Go vote.
Go vote if you want to. Bye. Health, freedom, knowledge. This is Brave TV. We actually have to turn this into Americans becoming...